Thank you, Abby. Good morning, everyone. Let's try that again. Good morning, everyone. All right, we're going to bring the energy today. It's my pleasure to be here with all of you professionals across industries from healthcare to commercial banking, real estate, higher education, government. You are the fabric of the communities that we serve, the ecosystems that are intertwining here today and that you're hearing about and seeing. So my focus today, I'd like to talk about two simple concepts. One is adapting to change. How do you, as leaders, high-level leaders in all of your industries, shift mindset for people to grow and to innovate? Number two, creating value for relationships. That's the fabric, right? That's the heart of what we do, creating value. And you heard it in the panel before, creating value two ways, okay? And doing it especially at times when you don't necessarily have to do it. Me in a snapshot, who is Fred Castrovinci? Most importantly, I'm a husband, I'm a father of three. Humble upbringing, I'm a New Jersey guy, born and raised. Hardworking, middle-class family. I was a wrestler growing up, worked hard for everything I've ever gotten. In 25 years as a leader in banking, that spans across consumer lending, automotive finance. I spent a stint of 2 years in retail banking where I had 1,000 people on my org chart. Learned a lot during that time about leadership, small business banking and commercial banking. And really at the heart of everything that we do and the change muscles that I have developed as a leader is really finding out how to motivate people, how to listen, how to be there, and how to get people in a state where they're going to grow and innovate and do more. So I'd like all of you to take a second and reflect on meaningful change that you've navigated in 2025. We're in the new year. This is the time for you to think about how did your organization navigate through change? What were the hard things that you did? What were things that came easily? I bet you if you look back, the hardest things were the most rewarding. Maybe not during that time, they were the most rewarding. How are you navigating the changes of your industry? AI, technology, economic cycles. We think about what puts our people in a place to embrace that change. Thinking about psychological safety, thinking about things that motivate them. How do you do this? How do you help even your child navigate through a new teacher that's difficult, a new coach that's challenging in ways they've never been challenged before?
Hi.
A little bit about one of my change stories in 2025. I worked for Valley Bank, as we've stated before. We're the largest bank headquartered in New Jersey. We've tripled in size the last 7 years. With that growth comes a lot of change to infrastructure, change that's required to ask people to do things differently, to update systems, to change organizational alignment. As you have these changes and you ask people to do things they've never done before and work differently, that's not an easy thing. So how do we do that? How do we wrap our hands, our arms around people that we work with and have them grab the opportunity that's in front of them rather than have the fear and think about what they've lost versus what they've gained? So a few core pillars here. As a leader, things that I know that have worked for me, engaging at every level. You have to engage as a leader at every level. You have to listen. You heard that on the panel as well. Sitting there, connecting, listening. But one of the lessons that I've learned, especially over the last year, is that no matter how engaged I was, being at our offices, being on calls with people, listening to customers, your people, as a senior leader, your people are only going to share a certain percentage of their feedback. Sometimes it's 50%, sometimes it's 75%. So having local feedback loops with your leaders is very important for them to engage in the same way over and over and over again. So you can come to a conclusion where you support your people and you put them in a place where they're going to innovate, change, and grow. Cultures of trust. We don't build cultures of trust during times of change. It's too late at that point. So you build a culture of trust through intentional, consistent actions that happen over a long period of time, following through on the things that you say you're going to do, and finding those moments. Those are different moments for everyone. Okay, it could be helping someone get a new relationship onboarded. It could be helping a challenging deal come through for people, or just being there when someone has a death in their family. There are moments that create distrust, and you have to work on that over time. So I ask you as a room, and I want everyone to listen to this part, what's one thing you can do today that you take away with you to establish a greater and deeper level of trust in your organization, with your families, with your peers, with the people that you see every single day? One action item that you can take that is authentic, that creates honesty, that even shows your vulnerability, okay? Sense of ownership. Again, people will change if they have an opportunity to help shape it. If they understand the why and you over-communicate that and you give them an opportunity to be part of the process. This one's my favorite. Prioritize your wellness. And I love that the first panel touched on this. You have to be able to bring the energy to a room. I love coming into a room, helping lift people up, share my energy, share the positivity. You can only do that if you have your own daily disciplines. For me, it's exercise, it's weight training, it's cardiovascular, it's entertainment, recreational things with my kids. Creating those disciplines creates an ability for you to be centered, and the ability for you to deliver the best of yourself every single day. You're not going to create these habits and routines when you encounter a time that has stress in it, or when you're encountering a time of change. So set up your routines, set up your disciplines, and work hard at those. And again, if you get your people to this feeling of safety, this feeling of embracing change, innovation, they're going to see everything as an opportunity. Through my lens, everything is an opportunity, even getting feedback, okay? That's a gift. It's just, a friend once told me, feedback is information that you can use to help shape decisions. That's all it is, it's information. But if you embrace everything as an opportunity, you're going to build new skills, new relationships, and you're gonna grow. So now that we've talked about getting our people in a place and ourselves in a place of adapting to change, I'm gonna segue into intersections. We drive through them every single day. You guys, as high-performing people, are really focused on getting to your destinations. You're focused on your own lanes. But how often are we driving through intersections that we don't take a minute to slow down and look at the potential connections that could be? Think about that for a second. So in my role, I have the opportunity with my teams to have access to people across multiple industries, from higher education to any industrial business you can think of, professionals, nonprofit organizations. And when I look at that population, that orbit, that ecosystem, there are opportunities to make intersections and connections. So I think back to October of last year, I met up with the folks from NJIT who have an innovation arm called NJII. We looked at their innovation arm, NJIT, we looked at Valley's innovation arm and the ecosystem of customers that we had, and we said, hey, there's an opportunity here to bring people together and to create value. Value beyond just getting a deal done, onboarding a deposit, servicing a client's needs, right? Not just looking at the goals that you have in front of you to make your numbers. Yes, that's a very important thing. But what's the value we can create along the way? So, we created an event. Some call it an event. I'd like to call it a moment. We created a moment where we brought real middle market companies together in New Jersey with NJIT. Their president was there. We had their Innovation Institute. We had folks from Valley Bank. We had Valley Ventures, which is our innovation arm that invests in fintech companies that can help businesses in New Jersey. We had innovators in the room. We had a panel of AI experts. We had startup founders. And again, we brought people together for a panel, but for a discussion, meeting face-to-face, connecting, talking about technology, AI, and things that can speed results. We were listening in the room. We were creating a moment. This really felt like a crossroads for us. There was something special. There was energy there. It did feel like we've all been solving the same problems, but from different angles. And these conversations that happened stimulated follow-up meetings. We probably had at least 10 follow-up meetings coming out of the event with companies that were interested in growing their businesses, leveraging AI, technology, realizing that they need more tools and resources. Then you had the innovation arms present from NJI, from Valley Bank. We had a startup company called Stut, which speeds the receivables for mid to large size companies using agentic AI. A lot of great, cool things that happened in that room. So on one hand, you have people that were willing to share from the innovation arms, and then businesses that were looking to grow, that had that growth mindset, they were willing to change, they wanted to make things better. And you'll hear frequently in the way that I talk about sharing. I don't sell anything, I share. We share. I encourage my teams to share. So when you're creating relationships, you're sharing things that are beneficial after you listen, that can help and connect the dots. And then you have people who want to make things better. I want to make things better. The people I encounter in the ecosystem here want to make things better. I hear you guys saying the same things, you want to make things better. So I ask that you all just think about, how do you share? How do you put your people that work for you and with you in a growth mindset, willing to adapt to change and innovate? And then how do you bring that all together to create value for your relationships? And that's really an important thing. It's special to me, and I wanted to share that with the group today. So I would like to just thank Capital Analytics, Invest New Jersey, Abby and the team. I leverage myself and offer me as a resource to any of you, any way that you think that I can help create value for you as a connector, as a leader in the industry. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to be someone that can connect and share within the ecosystems that we serve. But thank you so much for your time today. Have a great day.